Hi, my name is Dan, and I want to discuss today's issues with critical thinking, empathy, and an open dialogue. So, today I want to talk about a bigger issue than just domestic politics. I want to discuss the international political order. No, I'm not talking about the New World Order conspiracy about some authoritarian cabal. I'm talking about the norms and rules that govern how countries interact with each other. Now, I follow the war in Ukraine very closely, reading daily updates from the Institute for the Study of War and analysis from other experts. But it was a comment from the historian Yuval Noah Harari recently on a podcast called Making Sense with Sam Harris. Great podcast, by the way. In any event, what Harari mentioned was that over several millennia, states spent, on average, about 50% of their GDP on the military. Well, they had to, because at any time, a larger, more aggressive neighbor may want to expand their empire or come seize your land and take your people. In any event, over the last 100 years or so, there's emerged an international consensus that sovereign states shouldn't be allowed to be just swallowed up by their more powerful neighbors. Institutions like the United Nations help mediate conflicts and write the rules for how countries should interact with each other. That principle, or international political order, has meant that average military spending globally is currently just 5 or 6% of GDP, while spending for healthcare is on average about 10% of GDP. So this is the first time in human history we can spend more on keeping people healthy than we do on killing each other. That's only possible because of institutions like the UN, or perhaps more importantly, organizations like NATO, that's keeping countries like tiny Latvia from being swallowed up by much larger Russia. So when I hear people ask why we're spending money on helping Ukraine defend itself, I think about what it means to maintain international political order. I think about what it says to China, an authoritarian country looking to reintegrate democratic Taiwan. I think about what it means for our European allies, who, after suffering through centuries of endless wars, finally have had 80 years of peace and prosperity. And I think about what it means for the U.S. and how our economy is so dependent upon trade, and how that trade would be disrupted if we gave up on the international order. In other words, the small price that we pay to ensure Ukraine can defend itself is much, much less than we pay if we gave up on the international order. In the context of the current election, it's no secret that Trump would cut off aid to Ukraine while Harris would not. But maybe more telling is Trump's longstanding argument that back during the Iraq War, or afterwards, he argued that we should have taken the oil from Iraq and Syria. He argues that it should have been a spoil of war. Aside from the obvious logistical and security issues with doing that, it would be a complete abandonment of the international political order. No country, no matter how desperate, would allow foreign troops onto their land, even to defend themselves, if those foreign troops would then start confiscating the land or their resources. It would completely undermine any sense of political order. It would undermine the trust and cooperation that's needed to maintain the current system that we have. It would allow regional conflicts to blow up into, well, frankly, larger global military free-for-alls. So Trump isn't just an America first protectionist. He would destroy the very system of alliances that allows us to spend more on healthcare than bombs. He would take us back more than 100 years to a point where the strong imposed their will on the weak, and we all suffered because of it. Am I wrong? Make your best argument in the comments. Let's start a discussion. Thanks.